Hey girlfriends, welcome back to my video. I am Mickey B. Have we met? If not, it's nice to meet you, and I'm glad you decided to join me today. Today is another episode of my rehabilitation. This is my midweek session, and this one's gonna go a lot quicker than what I do at the beginning of the week, which is on Sundays. Sundays are my full, complete session where I moisturize my hair and I deep condition, and then on Wednesdays I do a refresh where I just re-moisturize, but I don't deep condition. And today I had a Zoom function, so I had to take down my 2 braids that I'm just going to do for this whole process for as long as I can. So I had a Zoom session and I had to take my braids down. So luckily it coincided with the time frame of how I'm doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and get my hair ready to be moisturized. I'm going to take this thing off and I'll come back. But I also want to do something different today as I do my hair. So I'll be right back and I'll talk about what that is. Okay, I am back and I've got my hair ready to be moisturized today. When I took it down this morning, it definitely still had moisture in it, but right now it does feel kind of dry. So I feel like, well, I guess because I'm re-moisturizing. I was going to say, I feel like it didn't last like before when I used more of the Shea Bay. If you saw my first video on this, what I'm doing, just to recap, I'm doing a creamy base with some Shea Bay and a bunch of different oils, olive oil, coconut oil, and vitamin E oil. You can add any oils that you want, but I put that on the hair, and then I put this hair food on my scalp. And then I use grease to go on the top to help lay it down. Just regular old school hair grease that everybody's afraid of these days. And I start off by moisturizing. So that's what I'm going to do today. But what I wanted to do differently while I'm doing that, because I don't want to just keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over, since we know what we're doing now. I have this book here that I got from my Dollar Tree. I don't know if you saw my Dollar Tree haul where it says it's the 17 Ultimate Guide to Guys. And what he really thinks about flirting, dating, relationships, and you. Now, this obviously is for youngsters, but I thought it would be fun to read this book, go through this book, and see what type of advice they're giving these young girls today. So we're going to start off with the first section. And the first section in this book has to do with flirting. And it says, flirt like an all-star. So I want to read some of the tips that they give the young girls today and see if we agree with them. I want this to be kind of interactive, so you can share in the comments if you agree with any of these tips and if you've tried any of these tips and if any of these tips have worked for you, and if this is tried and true information that will last the sands of time, or the test of time, so to speak. So the chapter starts off like this. It's probably backwards for you because I'm pointing in my mirror, but it says, make the right first impression. He'll form his initial thoughts about you 3 seconds into your very first convo, and you want them to be good. How exactly do you pull that off? This section is going to make you the girl he just can't stop thinking about in the best way. So let's get started. So here are the 4 tips that we are going to talk about today. And the first one, I want to go ahead, I'm going to put this book down on the side so that I don't get it dirty with hair grease and oil and water. But it says, sneaky ways to score flirting confidence. It says, if you practice these moves now and then every convo you have with the super hot guy will feel like no big deal. And they put NBD because, you know, this new generation abbreviates everything. So the first one says, flirt with the waiter. Try your moves on a guy who doesn't really matter to you so that you have a non-scary way to figure out what works. What makes a guy laugh, what makes him roll his eyes, etc. A cute waiter is the perfect test run because it's his job to pay attention to you. So I'm going to put this book down, get started on my hair because this isn't going to take long today. But do you agree? Have you ever tried that technique where you flirt with the waiter or some other guy who you're not interested in, just to test it out. So do you agree with that? Do you, and they say a cute waiter, but I imagine it could be, I don't know, just any guy. Like, if it's not a waiter, maybe like the grocery store clerk, or what else would you do where someone has their undivided attention? You could do it over the phone, I guess. If you are, I don't know, performing any type of business over the phone, or let's say you're getting an estimate at your house and someone has to come out and give you an estimate, and that's someone you don't know. Do I think that's good advice to practice basically on a stranger? To me is what they're saying. I don't know. I've never tried anything like that. I don't know that it's a bad suggestion, but it's not one that I ever tried. And I guess you have nothing to lose if this person doesn't fall for it or give you positive feedback. But if it's not the person that you're interested in, I mean, how effective can it be? But if you just want to see what it feels like to be daring and to try out flirting with someone who you may never see again, then I guess, yeah, that would be a good piece of advice. So what do you think? Do you agree with that? Have you tried it? Did it work for you? Flirting with someone who you really have nothing invested in, because that way you have nothing to lose if it doesn't go your way. So that was the first one. So I say that's just an okay piece of advice, I guess. It wouldn't hurt anything for someone to try that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best advice and 1 being the worst, I would give that, I'd say in the middle, I'd give that a 5. Okay? So the next piece of advice they give is warm up on text. So they're saying on this one, it's easier to say something bold to your crush over text. And when you get in the habit of throwing out those lines and realize that most of the time they totally work, you'll eventually get the guts to try it in person. Just hit send already. So do you agree with that one? Try over text messages versus in person. Now, I do believe you definitely have more courage when you are not face to face, if you're someone who has a problem with talking to people face to face that you've just met. So I think that's a good piece of advice. You start over a text message, or even like in an email, you know, something in writing where you're not immediately in front of this person, and it allows you an opportunity to get to know a little bit about the person, you know, if they're being honest, because everybody's so shady these days. You don't know if what they're telling you is the truth or make-believe. But I think that that's a good piece of advice. I mean, you don't want to get too scandalous over a text message, and then when you see them, you're all an angel again, like you never said all that on a text message. You freeze up in person. So I say that's a good piece of advice within reason, and that's something that I think would help you, I guess, develop the courage to say what you really mean in person once you get used to saying it in a text message. Because once you put it out there, it's out there, whether it's in person or not. You've given that person a little bit of who you are, and you know how you think and what you think about them. So I would say, yeah, I don't think that that's a bad piece of advice. Have I ever tried that? I don't really text. Have I ever tried something like that? I don't think so, because my generation didn't have all this social media type stuff. For me, it would have been more over the telephone, if anything. So maybe via a phone call, I might have had a little bit more courage, because it might be the same idea, spoken versus written, but the same concept where you do it when you're not face to face. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give that piece of advice probably an 8. So have you ever tried that, and did it work for you? Let me know in the comments. Tip number 3 in regards to flirting says learn to speak guy. And that basically means when you're hanging out with your guy friends, pay attention to what they talk about and what cracks them up. Being totally comfortable in a guy world helps you hold your own around a cutie you like, and may even give you a few jokes to steal. Now, I don't know about this. Now, I do know people who have tried this in the past. You know, they hang out with guys, they become one of the guys, basically. But I feel like doing that means you're not being your true self. In my opinion, you're just doing it because you're trying to get something out of it. And so I don't feel like that's sincere. Do I feel like it might work if someone believed? I mean, if you're a good enough actor or actress and you can pull it off and get a guy to really believe that you're interested, you're truly interested in his interests, you know, it probably would work. But again, I think it's insincere, because at some point, if you're not truly interested in what you're exhibiting or portraying, then it's gonna show at some point. You're gonna get tired, especially probably the first time it will show is if it does work and you're in a relationship. Then the first time you get mad, or when the relationship starts to go stale, you're not gonna want to participate in that anymore because it wasn't sincere from the get-go. So I can see that being a problem with tip number 3. I've never tried to do that. I've never tried to be interested in what guys are just to get to know someone. That's something I never thought to do, never would do. Like I said, I don't think it's a sincere way of getting to know someone. But if you're just flirting and it's just all in fun, I guess it's okay. This new generation is definitely different. So have you tried tip number 3? Have you tried to hang out with the fellas, become one of the guys, and get to know how they think and their thought process? I would think that would probably be very discouraging. Guys are just, you know, thinking like a guy, to me, is men and women are just different. I'll just put it that way. So no, I've never tried that one. I don't think I would ever try that one. I think it's good advice if you're just having fun, I suppose. But if you really want if you really want to get to know someone and you think this might be someone who you may eventually want and have a relationship with, then I think you should just be upfront and be who you truly are, and not try to be one of the guys just to meet someone. Because to me, it's just setting yourself up to be disappointed, or the other person disappointed if they find out that that's not truly what you're interested in, and you were just doing it to meet them. Now, have you tried this? Do you agree with this tip? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this tip, maybe, if I said like just for the fun of it, I would give this tip maybe a 3.5 or a 4, just for fun. But again, if you want to be sincere and really get to know someone, then really get to know who they are and their true interests. That's my take on it. That's what I would suggest. All right, and then the last tip number 4, is play wing girl. Play wing girl. Basically, well, let me read what they say first. When you're acting as the side chick for a flirty friend. So you're acting as the side chick for a flirty friend. You get to be part of the action without any pressure. Seeing how she talks to guys will rub off on you. Soon you'll be ready to jump right in. So if you have a friend who's flirty and confident and is already there, and you're hanging out with her and she's flirting, and you're just like, Batman and Robin type of thing. She's Batman and you're Robin. You're just joining in. You have nothing invested. But I think that's safe. I think there's nothing wrong with that suggestion. I think it definitely would be easy to do, and you'd have a stronger comfort zone in doing so, because again, you're just flirting. You're not trying to get to know this person. You're just out having fun, and you're kind of piggybacking off your best friend or someone who is a big flirt and who is comfortable in doing it. So you just kind of chime in with what she's doing, and it's saying the tip is saying once you start doing it, it'll rub off on you, and you'll be more confident when you are on your own and your friend isn't around. Then you already have the technique, the tools, and you've had to practice to do it on your own with confidence. I haven't done anything like this before, but I have, well, something similar, not where I was flirting with someone, but I had a friend who liked this guy. This was when, of course, we were young, I was young, and they tried to keep it on the down low, like they didn't want people to know. So whenever the three of us were hanging out, we would always have the back and forth banter, so that they tried to make it look like, you know, to keep the spotlight off of them. So to me, it just made it more obvious that they liked each other, because it was like I was too included in it. But it was kind of like this idea, but mine was, it was so, you know, it was just for fun. It was just back and forth. There was clearly no interest, which was obvious. I was so comfortable. You could tell that we were not the two who liked each other, and the two who did like each other kind of talked through me, so to speak. So to me, it was, I think everybody knew, I think it was obvious who he liked and who he really wanted to, who he was really there, you know, to chill with and be around. But I would say that that's similar to it, similar but different. It's not the same thing, same idea. But I didn't need any practice doing it. To me, it was just fun. We were just hanging out. It was fun. That was not the intention. That's how it came across because of the whole situation. They were trying to keep things secret, a secret. You know, they didn't want everybody to know. I knew. They thought in their world that I was the only one who knew, but I'm sure everybody else could tell. So, but no, I haven't done it the way they suggested in this book right here, to intentionally go out and play the wing girl. But I think if nothing else, that would be fun to do, just to go out and you know, have fun with it. And I didn't part my sections very well. I hate when that happens. But yeah, tip number 4, I would give that maybe a 5 also. I think it's harmless to do, and it's fun. Maybe a little higher than a 5. If you're just really out there having fun, hanging out with your girlfriend, and you guys come across some guys and you're just flirting with them just for the heck of it, just having a good time, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And if that helps develop your flirting technique, then you know, that's the benefit of it. So I would give that, what did I say, a 5 before? I'd rate it a little higher, because I'm rating it as something to do for fun. And in lieu of that, I would give it maybe a 7.5 or 8. So have you guys tried that when you were young, or even now in your current age? You think that's a good tip that they're giving to these young girls today? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever tried it? Did it work for you? Do you feel like that's something that helped you become more confident in your flirting game? Yeah, it's just interesting what they're telling these youngins today. Just trying to, if you're doing this with me, trying to incorporate some fun type of conversation. You know, something light. Get your mind off of what's going on in the world today. Is that a cricket? Be right back, because it's so loud. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but that was really, really loud. It was a cricket in my shower. A little tiny cricket about that big, making all of that noise because of the echo, I guess. But I had to take care of it, so he's gone. Okay, so I had to take care of Mr. Cricket. That was so loud. I'm gonna guess that you guys heard that, because that's why I paused, because I'm like, is somebody in my house? Like, what is that sound? But we're in the middle of a heat wave right now, so I guess when it's hot outside, crickets like to try and come in the house to get cool. So I'm gonna have to spray around the front of my house, around the perimeter, and see if I can, because those things are loud. I hate the sound of crickets, and they always seem to find a hiding spot where you can't find them. And you know how they can project the sound to sound like it's coming from somewhere else. In the next section, it says signs He wants to make a move. He does the look back. That thing. When he passes you in the hall and then looks back at you again, it means he wants to say something, but he's too intimidated to stop and ask. Do you agree with that? I don't think that is always the case. I don't think it's intimidation all the time. It might be he's in a relationship already and knows he shouldn't be saying something. It could be that. It's not necessarily he wants to get to know you and it's all, good and easy breezy. Especially today. They seem to be very unfaithful situations out there. If you just look on social media, like none of these relationships seem to be working out at all. It's like there's a lot of cheating, there's a lot going on in these relationships today. It's exhausting. People breaking up left and right. I wouldn't agree that necessarily means he's interested and wants to make a move. Now the second sign says he uncrosses his arms. So more than half of personal communication is done through body language. When a guy positions himself with his hands in his pockets and his elbows away from his body, he is sending the signal that he is open to you and that he wants you to feel comfortable standing closer to him. If you're talking to a guy and he's like standing there like that, his arms are crossed, people do that. And then as he becomes more intrigued with your conversation, or if he's talking to you and he's really interested in what you have to say, then he takes his arms and puts them back and opens himself up, puts his hand in his pockets, and is really giving you his undivided attention. I can see that. I think I've experienced that before, where you can, body language wise, according to this, I've experienced it before. Did it really mean that? Who knows? But I could feel like this is something that does occur. And it does occur for that reason when a guy is definitely interested in you. Because if it's a mature guy, I'm not talking a knucklehead, somebody who's just playing around, wasting time, wasting your time and theirs. But like someone who really sincerely is making an effort to get to know you. I do believe that is a good sign that they're interested and they're opening themselves to you in the sense of giving you their full-on attention because they're really digging what you're saying, or they're feeling like you guys are compatible, or there's an energy that's being projected between the two of you that makes them interested in wanting to get to know you and just taking the time to open himself up to you and just to give you the floor, and you guys give each other the floor and get to know each other. So yes, I'm just looking at my hair. Interesting. Looking at the curls. Now mind you, I'm not using any combs or brushes. I do want to point that out. I try to keep that to a minimum. But let's get on to the third sign that he wants to make a move. He tilts his head. This subtle move is a signal that he wants to understand you and is really interested in what you're saying. Watch his pupils. If they dilate while he's talking to you, he's actually feeling an attraction towards you. I've never done this before, so I don't know. I can't speak on this one. I've never looked to see if someone's pupils dilated if we were having a conversation. And I was trying to picture, he tilts his head. I mean, does it mean like that? I don't know. I'm trying to envision what that might look like, or if that's something I feel like I've experienced, someone tilting their head as far as it meaning he wants to make a move. I can't really see this one in this moment. Can you kind of see where they're going at with this one? He tilts his head, signaling he wants to understand you, meaning he wants to make a move on you. I can see, if it means he's showing more interest, like he's really trying to understand and relate to you, then yeah, I guess I could see that, but I'm not sure. I can't see in my mind what the head tilt thing looks like that they're referring to. So if you know about the head tilt thing, then let me know. Do you think that that means a guy's trying to make a move on you? Like, what does that look like? He tilts his head. Like, so we're sitting there talking and getting to know each other, and he just like, I mean, is it like, interesting? Maybe that's what they mean, like that type of a tilt. Okay. Then maybe I could kind of see that. I don't know that that necessarily means he wants to make a move, but I feel like when I do that, the head tilt thing, it's like I'm really relating to you. You know, it's like, oh, okay, wow, like really? You know, I never, like, if I do something like that, it doesn't necessarily mean I want to make a move, but it means that I'm interested in the conversation and in the what we're sharing and what we're discussing. So that's how I see that situation. What do you guys think? You agree with that? What do you think a head tilt? A head tilt, does that mean to you that somebody wants to make a move? I guess it could, but that's not something that I think I've experienced. Or if I have, I haven't paid attention to that, or I never thought that that's what that meant. I take it, again, more as someone is interested in a conversation. But I guess everybody has different techniques and different things that they do that could mean that, and you just think it means something else. But that was tip number 3. Oh, my hands are greasy right now, so I can't. What was that? Oh my God. Was that like a firework? Okay, that kind of, I don't know if you heard that, but it was a big boom sound, which is a trigger for me because my car was totaled in front of my house back in 2014, and I was literally in the bathroom flat ironing my hair, this very bathroom, whole setup, and I hear this big boom, and I thought it was an earthquake. A 17-year-old was driving under the influence and texting while driving, and head on hit my car and totaled my car, her car, the car caught on fire. So that's a trigger for me when I hear loud sounds like that. And I think this is some knucklehead who's been doing them stupid fireworks. But I was like, please don't tell me this is happening again. I have PTSD from that incident. Literally. PTSD is real, I'm telling you, because I have it's such a trigger for me now. And for that to happen as loud as it was just now while I'm in my bathroom just kind of messed with me a little. So my cars are okay. I'm good. So let me regroup a little bit. Okay. So there was just 3 signs that he wants to make a move in this section. So we went over the 3. So I'm going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, which one I think is good advice, and which one mediocre advice and bad advice, if applicable. So the first one, he does a look back. I don't think that necessarily means he wants to make a move. I think sometimes it does mean he wants to make a move, and sometimes it can mean something else. So I would rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. I keep that in the middle of 5 because that could go either way. You could just look like somebody he used to know. You look familiar. Could be a number of things. Not always he wants to make a move. So I take that with a grain of salt. So I rate that a 5. The second one, he uncrosses his arms. I think that there's a lot of truth to this one. When he uncrosses his arms and he's opening himself up to you, I can see that that could definitely mean he's interested, because you pulled him in, and the body language, sometimes people aren't even aware of what they're doing because they're so intrigued with the conversation that he is really, getting pulled in and thinking, wow, this person is really cool. I enjoy talking to them, So yeah, I think that is a good signal he wants to make a move, and I'd say more of a positive type of a move, not like a scandalous he wants to make a move, because the phrase he wants to make a move sounds mostly just sexual the way they have it, or the way someone might think it. I think that I would change it to he's interested and thinks you are an interesting person, and he's opening himself up to you because you pulled him in based off of the conversation that you guys are having. So I would rate that as like an 8.5. I think that's a good tip. And then the third and final tip, he tilts his head. I think the head tilt definitely signifies interest. Again, to me, it's pretty much, I would say they're the same thing. Uncrossing his hands and tilting his head, two body signals, two, pieces of body language that basically mean that they're interested in you, what's going on, what's being discussed, probably, the whole package, the look, the discussion, the intelligence level, what you do. You might you might have the same interests or in the same career field, stuff like that. And you might be sharing something with him that they've been wanting to do and never knew anyone who did it, and found out that you had some knowledge about it, and that makes you sometimes, or that makes people sometimes appealing to you, and you can learn something from them, because people like someone who can bring something to the table, not just an empty pot. Not just empty, you can't grow from each other. So maybe that's what it is. They're learning from you. They're experiencing something new. You're introducing them to a new world of information, or a new community, or anything like that. So yeah, that to me is a good sign, can be a good sign that he is interested. Now, as far as wanting to make a move, I would change that to he is interested, find you interesting, and probably would like to get to know you better. So if that's what they mean by making a move, for the uncrossing of the arms and the tilting of the head, I think they're very similar, and I would say I would agree with those two tips. So what do you guys think? Have you experienced someone tilting their head and agreeing that they wanted to make a move? Have you experienced someone opening themselves up to you? So anyways, I just wanted to talk about something while I did this, while we went through this together. And sorry about those two interruptions, the cricket and I'm gonna say it was a firework. That firework really messed with me, whatever that sound was. So I'm all done, and I'm gonna do one final swoosh. Now this is the oil conditioner mixture. I'm just wanting to use that up, so I do the final. Let me get over here so I don't mess up my book. So I just do one final spritz of moisture, and this is going to last until Sunday. And then Sunday we're going to do it again, and we'll go over the next chapter in this book, if you guys find this interesting. See what they're telling young girls today, and if we agree with it and want to add to it. In fact, add your pieces of advice on these topics of what do you think the signals are for someone who wants to make a move, and what do you think are some good tips to becoming a better flirt. If that's your thing, go ahead and put it in the comments, and you can put some pearls of wisdom out there for the youngins. Now, if you remember from the first video, I take these two ponytails like this, and I have my little clip, which it's in my other bathroom, I don't have it, and I just clip them right here, and then I wrap my hair up and I leave it like that until I need to go somewhere. Then I'll just let the ponytails fall down. But that's why I use the grease, to make it easier for the hair to lay down and to kind of control flyaways. I don't want to use gel. I don't want to start putting too many products on here, so I'd rather go with the grease. Most people won't want to do that, but again, do what works for you. That's what works for me. And when I wrap it up and take it off in the morning, it's going to be nice and neat and flat like this. What's up, Lacey? So yeah, so that's today's session. Again, join in at any time if you want someone to do your hair with and try to stay disciplined and stay on track and, you know, get a better routine, hair care routine, and get your hair right this summer. Summer is a drying season. It dries your hair out depending on where you are in the world. Some places are humid, some places have dry heat. So our summers, I think our summers are dry here. I'm in Southern California. But some people think it's humid, so it doesn't matter because we're doing this. So as long as I'm staying on top of it, I want to see if I can get this little spot to fill in, and I'm gonna let this gray hair grow out maybe to about here, I think, until before I do another henna session. And when that happens, that's when I'll go ahead and wash it. So if you're still here, thanks for hanging in, and I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and hair rehabilitation session. And I will see you again on Sunday. I'm going to try to post these on Sunday and Wednesday. So that way, if this is something that you would like to participate in, then you would want to participate in on the actual days that I'm doing it. So if you're seeing this video, this is probably last week because it's allowing me to post them on the days that I'm doing them, but just the following week. So that way you can do it on the same days. Just a week lag, but just be aware of that. All right, and then just to recap, and I'll get out of here, I wet my hair with water, and then after I moisturize it with water, I put the hair food on the scalp only. After I put the hair food on the scalp, I did my creamy base, which is a Cantu leave-in conditioner with vitamin E oil, olive oil, and I always forget a third oil. Oh, and coconut oil. So that's what this is. And this just goes on the hair. And I try to keep it an inch from my scalp. And then lastly, I put this regular old school Dax pomade air grease on top so that it can hold my hair down and help it lay flat when I wrap it. And then I do a final moisturize, and I'm just doing that to use this up. Once this is all gone, I'll just use water or either aloe vera juice because I do have some of that. But this right now is just oil, one of those Indian amla oils, and some conditioner and water. So you see how much I have left. So I just use this in between. I don't like to throw anything away, so when this is used up, I'll probably put in I'll just use regular water, or I'll do the aloe vera juice. And that's it. And then Sunday we're going to do it again, and we're going to deep condition using my hot head. Did I put the link? I think I put the link in my last video, the very first one, of where I got that. So that's it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let's get our hair together. And if you have suggestions on things you'd like to talk about in future videos, leave them in the comments and we can definitely discuss them. I'm open to, you know, good, productive, and useful conversation. Not just anything, but let's be productive. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Click the like button if you like this video series that I'm trying to be regular with, and leave me a comment if you want to share anything with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you on board with my channel. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh, and I forgot to show you, this is the shed hair that came out. Just that little amount. Not a lot. I'm trying to hold it in one hand for you. You see it's see-through. If I were to ball it up like that, then it's that much. Alright. See you soon.